Tech Talk is being recorded, and tomorrow you'll all be sent an email with a recording of the Tech Talk. So I want to welcome you all. And what we're going to talk about today is how to do photographic embroidery. Now, photographic embroidery is one of those things that a customer may or may not ever come up and read. It's going to be one of those things that if you have a storefront, you'll want to display, okay? Because when people see it, that's when they get inspired. Hey, didn't know you can do that. I would like to get my family done as a portrait in stitches. It's a real cool thing. It's a high dollar amount return. It's fun to do. It's more like specialized cross stitching. And it also sets you apart from the other competitions out there that do not have software that has this capability to convert a photograph to stitches. Now, you definitely need, you definitely want an image. You can't do photographs that are going to be small or left chest. You can't do a photograph stitching on a hat. You need the area to capture the detail. So in this style of design, you're going to want to put this on a full chest, or you want to put it on a canvas bag, or even on canvas itself and then stretch it over a picture frame. So a wooden frame to hang as a picture. It's a great idea. It's a neat little handy tool, and I think if you display it correctly, your customers will really love what they see. So we're going to get started. Want to make sure everybody can hear me. Don, if you could raise your hand, let me know that you can hear me. And if you're having audio difficulties, or you could, I'm hoping everybody can see my screen. We're going to go ahead and get started. Now, the photographs that I usually choose are going to be silhouetted photographs or inverted photographs. And the way we do this is I'm going to search on the internet, just for example, okay? And we're going to go to Google. Google is my #1 place to look for. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to search for images. And I'm going to choose silhouette faces. Okay, and what we want, actually we'll do grayscale. Let's do grayscale. And you can do all this, but this is actually easy stuff. Grayscale faces. There we go. Let's choose a picture here. This one here. Okay, it doesn't have to be any size or anything like that. Just right-click on here. We're going to save this image, and we'll save it to my desktop so I can find it and pull it up. You know, let's call it image 1. And let's go ahead and go back. Let's see. Let's see. This one here is pretty interesting. This is almost like you can see some detail in the glasses, which I really, really like. So let's go ahead and click on this. And let's go ahead and save this. I'm going to right-click on this, save this one. So I'll pick a couple images here. We'll call it image 2. Okay. And let's see. Let's go to view more here. And let's find something a little bit. Okay, let's do this one here. It's actually low grade. It's actually, you can see the pixelation in the nose. I'm going to find something that's a little bit more cleaner than that. Let's go ahead and go up top here. And one of the things that Google does give you is this tools. And I'm going to go, to size. I'm going to go to large. Okay, this will actually give me like nice large graphics. Like here, you see 1920 by 180 or 1080. That's a good one. I want something that has just a little bit of color in it. And let me see. And then that's just a little slow this morning. We got that one. Let's see, just well, we'll start with this one here. What we got here. Okay. All right. The way this works is very simple. First of all, we need to grab the graphic. It's the same 4 steps that you do in creating any design in stitches. Step number one, you need a design, okay? You need an image. And we're going to pull that image in and drag it in and drop it, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this image. I don't need this detail down in here, okay? I'm going to edit my image, which is step number 2. To crop the image, you click on, once you click on your graphic, by the way, your ribbon changes to things that you can do with what you selected, okay? So what I can do is I can go to crop image, and when I crop image, what I do is I draw a box. Okay, I got to be inside of the box that I'm trying to select, and then once you have what you need, you release and then hit enter, and now the image is cropped. Very simple to do. And we also have other features we can do. We can do color reduction, like when we look at this image, we can filter up to 32 colors, and you can see all those different colors. What we want to do is we want to just filter out maybe just maybe we'll just do half of those colors, okay? Now when you do that, what happens is these gradations start to bar on you, okay? It provides a pretty cool effect when you're converting to stitches, which we'll do in a little bit. But we're actually going to go up a little higher on this. We're actually going to go from 32 to we'll go 64, and we'll smooth some of that out, okay? We're also going to smooth some of the detail on the face out. You can see the lips right here. So I'm let's go ahead and let's see if I can go up higher than 32. Let me see. So I'm increasing my small areas pixels, and what's happening here? It's actually trying to filter out my small pixels and try to convert them to other colors. So when I choose this, and I go to 50, for instance, you see what it does. It just kind of deletes everything out. We'll go to 0. The image comes back. All right. So I'm going to keep it just like this. And now the way this works is we need this image to be large enough to actually capture the detail. Okay. The larger it is, the more color, the more detail it'll have. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Layout, and I'm going to choose my sizing here to be about, let's go about 10 inches wide. Okay. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to actually click on the image again, and we are going to go to, click on the image again, and now we're going to go to embroidery. We're going to art to stitch here, and in here you'll have the image to photo stitch. Well, once you select it, what you want to do is, I'm just going to do it a couple ways here, okay? Number one, I'm going to do the whole square, okay? So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to choose straight node, and I'm just going to click all corners, all 4 corners. And what I'm doing is I'm selecting the area that I want to have embroidered, to have stitches. Once we end it, we hit enter. Stitches will populate, okay? So now what we have to do is we have to adjust for this, okay? So what I want to do here is, first of all, I want to convert my red stitches to black, okay? And we'll go ahead and go black. I'll show you, there's a couple things you can do. Even gray looks good too. Oh, let's choose that black right there. Apply and OK, and there we go. And what we want to do now is we want to choose, let's turn off the images first. Let's turn off the image background. You can see that, you can almost see that, that there's a face there. If I go to simulation, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we have further editing to do. So let's go ahead and set this up. So what I do here is there's several different black and white settings here. On grayscale, you want to use black and white. Then you have the cyan, magenta, yellow. These are for graphic photographs that are more animated, okay? Not one that's a true 2 million color photograph or 2 megapixel color, okay? This actually tries to trap blending and tries to get the photograph to look pretty similar, capture some of the highlights is what they do. And you have 1, 2 of the CMY colors, and then you CMY 3 colors, I'm sorry. And then you have CMYK, which includes the black, and you have three selections of those. In the single color, when you have a grayscale image like this, like Angela Jolie in the background here, we have 4 different stitch types. We have this black and white setting one, which basically creates a zigzag pattern. Okay, you can see those stitches there. And then there'll be a long stretch on neutral areas of the photograph on the lighter colors. And as we get darker, you can see those zigzag stitches start getting tighter. Okay, that's how it recreates this image. Okay, it recognizes tonality of color behind it, and then darkens up or tightens up the stitches to capture those shadows. The other ones here are actually we have a tighter spacing, and you can see what it did. It actually put a slant to my zigzag. Okay, this one here is straight up 45-degree slant angle. And then number 2 is more of a slant, which can capture more darker tones. Okay, when we look at this one here, and I oftentimes use the view simulation to actually see what the changes are. Okay, so when so I'll open this up every now and I'll go back and forth between the 4 different selections to see which one I like the best, and I'll go to view and simulation. And I think I like the number 2 the better, so number 1 is definitely out of my consideration. The third one here is actually, it does a crisscross pattern. And this is pretty good for capturing contour. Okay, you can see the facial structure here is captured, and you have these, you can see how we have this cross stitching that goes on in the shadowing of the eyes. It actually blends a little bit, a lot better. Let's take a look at that under simulation. Now you can start to see, we're starting to see facial structure here, okay, where the shadows and the highlights are. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to further edit this by adjusting these settings right here. Now the first one is cell height. How high are these zigzag lines, okay, and what's the peak radius of them? This one here is the spacing between here, the width of it, okay? So if I usually set this to 15. Okay, and I set this to like 10. And now what we'll do, we'll choose the right fill for that. And there we go. So now what we have, hold on, let me just adjust this a little bit better. 25, and I think this one should be 15. Yeah, let me go to 20. Just adjust these numbers until you start to see the detail that you're trying to capture. Yeah, let's try 50, okay? See what that looks like. You can see it's hardly noticeable. It's so wide. The slants are so wide apart that you start to lose detail of it. If you go to 5, you'll see they'll get real close together, and the image gets darker. Okay, and this doesn't even look too bad. So if I go to View and I go to Simulation, you can see what I did there. Okay. All right, now the next way you can actually do this, okay, and by the way, remember these numbers, okay, because they really work with every photograph you come up with, 25 and 5. The lower this number, the lighter the image goes. So if I go to like 10, okay, it starts to fade out. The higher the number you go, it's actually, you start to see, you start to really populate a lot of stitches in areas. And you start to get this, I guess she looks like she's behind a Venetian blind. And you can see what you do. You see, that may even be cool on something. It kind of, the neutral areas like right here, which are going to be shirt color, would actually, give detail. You can see the structures of her chin there. Okay. So let's go ahead and delete that, and let's go ahead and turn on the image again. And let's say one of the common questions I get on this is, how would I just do the face and not the background? Okay, again, it's the same selection tool. You select your image, you go to embroidery, you go to art to stitch, image photo to stitch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a curve tool for my selection. By the way, these node selections are how you're actually creating your path. See, the line actually just does lines. As you see, it's straight. I can't curve them, okay? if you hold your control button while lines is on, you'll actually put a corner node in there. You see how it turned blue? If I hold my shift key, now I'm going to curves. Okay, so I can jump back and forth between curves and lines. Releasing the shift key, I'm back at lines. Okay, same thing for the curves. Okay, most of the stuff that you'll create will have some kind of curve to it. So your number one is going to be curves, unless you're doing just basic angles or something like that. Now, when you're using the curve tools, everything you click is going to have a curve. Okay, so if you need to make a tight corner here where you don't want this flaring out of it, well, then this node needs to be a corner. So you hold the control button, then click, and now you can cut those corners without having it flare out. Okay? I do this quite regularly to try to control how much and when to click. Okay? Okay, so have fun with that. By the way, shift key on the curve, when you're selecting curve, actually goes from the curve to a line by holding the shift key down as you're clicking. Okay. All right. So to do this face and just the face, what I will do, click on the image, go to embroidery, we'll go to art to stitch, we'll go to image photo stitch, and we'll choose the curve tool. And what I'll do is I'll make sure I'm on black, and I am, and I'll just start right here. Now I'll zoom in a lot, but not too far where I can't see what I'm doing here. And I'll just trace the face. Now, if you make a mistake, I can get that closer. Just hit the backspace button, and it'll go back for you. And we'll just come right down. And we'll just follow the curve. By the way, one of the nice features about the software that you have with Stitcher is the ability to embed hotkeys to do certain things. Like most people, they don't even know they're there. And what they wind up doing is zooming out, going to a new location, and continue to draw. That takes a lot of time, and oftentimes your targeting is not correct. So what I do is I put a hotkey in there. One way of actually panning, it's called panning through the design. Panning is actually moving from one area to another. There's several ways you can do it. Number one, I can come up here in this gray area. You see how my mouse turns to an arrow? If I left click and then drag my mouse up, I will actually do what's called scrolling. Okay? And you have those areas on all four sides of your screen. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to my cursor and and it'll start to scroll. Okay, now that's one way. It's slow. Okay, another way of actually panning through a design is actually using the hand tool here. And once I choose the hand, I can now drag to a new location without having to zoom in and zoom out. This is going to save you a lot of time in navigating your design without zooming in and zooming out. Okay. The other popular way of actually setting up a satellite view, which is go to the View menu and go to Satellite, and you'll see right here, this little square right here. All right, so I need stitches in order for this to work. Okay, so that's how that works. So what I do is I like to use the hand tool, but the problem with the hand tool is I got to click on it to use it, and then to go back to drawing, I got to click off of it, and then I can go to drawing. Well, I like to set up a hotkey. Now, when you're setting up hotkeys, you would need to go to File, and you go to Options, and you go to Customize Shortcuts. And you look for the tool right here. So I know this is called Pan. If you put your mouse over it, it'll come up with Pan. So I'll go down to the tool that I want to set a hotkey for. And it's already set up in here for F1, but I'll just show you. It's pretty far down this list here. You can see there's a lot of things you could set hotkeys to. And let's see, where's the Pan? Did I pass it? I think I passed it. And it's F1. There it is. Once you select it, down here you choose the hotkey you want. I want F1. I like F1 because it's right next to the escape button. Okay, so it's I can get to both buttons. And then you click on the checkbox. And now every time you hit F1, I'll close here, I go from drawing, and now it's time to move. I hit F1, I did something wrong. Let's do that one again. I had it set, but I think I turned it off by choosing it again. So let's go down to pan. There it is. Yeah, see, I turned it off. There's no selection there. F1, checkbox, close. Now I can hit the F1. It turns to a hand. I can move, hit F1 again, and I'm back to drawing. So we come up here, F1. I'm just going to do up to the draw line. And you have to go from the start point of your design, okay, and you got to work your way back to where you started, okay? So right here, I need to place the right node because it's kind of like a curve right here. So I'm going to go right here, and we'll actually see how this goes. So it just tapers up into the corner. So from here, I'm going to go to a straight node. So I'm going to hold my Shift key, keep the angle nice and straight, come across to where I started, and hit enter. We can turn off our image now. You also will have this directional line. You see the yellow points right here. This is your stitch direction line. And by changing the angle of the stitches, sometimes you can get better detail. So if I change it to a slight angle, you can see I'm going to get a different look. So I'm going to go over here and go to simulation and take a look. Okay? And we'll dock this. Okay, and when I leave this open here, and I could change different parts of this design. So I go 15, you'll see it over here. See that? So this is a true view. This is showing you stitch marks and everything, and it's kind of like not the exact view you get. This is what you're looking for over in your preview and your simulation, okay? This is what your customers are going to see. Okay, and then I can go over here and then change these numbers. Go 25, hit enter, it changes over here, it changes over here. That's too light. You see I'm losing the detail of the eyes there. So I'm going to go down to 5 and see if that looks good, and I'll find a happy medium. There we go. So now I'm starting to get more detail in the eyes here. Okay? Looks horrible over here, but look at the preview. Okay? And then from here, I'll go ahead and try different settings. I'll try black and white too, see what it looks like. That looks pretty interesting. I'm starting to smooth out some tones here. You can see that like before. It's a little bit rough. It's kind of broken here, distorted in here. And I'll go to number 2, kind of smooths it up, darkens the shadows a little bit more. Okay? And then we'll try black and white 3 and see what that gives me. And that looks cartoonish. It kind of looks like the Joker on Batman. So I'm not going to do that one. And black and white 4. Let's take a look at that. This does like an arrow type stitch. And sometimes that looks pretty good too. I mean, unfortunately what it does, it puts so many stitches in here that the shadows become too dark here. And in those situations, I may opt to change the color of black to maybe a gray, like a pewter gray. Just a little bit lighter, and you can see it does lighten it up a lot for you. All right, and I'll even go lighter. Maybe let's try silver and see what that looks like. See? You can have fun with this all day long. You can actually go to red and see what red looks like. And this on like a red shirt or like a darker red shirt would look great because it looks like the face is coming out of the shirt, like a tone-on-tone effect. Let's go ahead and go with a black, right? And the one cool thing I could do is change the background color. And let's say we're going to get an Oxford gray shirt. You can see what that does, okay? Maybe even not Oxford, but an ash gray. Let's go to an Oxford gray. And now you can see what I'm doing there. You can see what I've done. It kind of looks, you're trying to make it blend with the shirt. Now with this, let's go with a silver, okay? Let's go with a silver color. No, awful. Okay, let's go to the gray. That looks pretty interesting. Let's go to, yeah, that's probably the best. The black looks probably the best right there. Okay, so let's go and change my background color back to white. All right, now another thing we want to do is also we want to put a border around this to clean up our edges. The last thing a customer is going to want is going to be this. Now there's a lot of crafty stuff you can do with this border. We're actually going to go back to the other stitch here. We're going to go back to this one here. I'm sorry, black and white 2. I kind of like that one better. There's a lot of crafty things you could do there, like some people will put lace on here or like a hat, they'll put something on top to make it their own. They can actually put text on top of it or whatever. And you can hide those borders using those techniques. You can also add a border as well. So if I just click on border and turn on the border here, and I'm just going to do there's a lot of things we could do. Let's go ahead and go zigzag. Show you basic bordering, okay? And right here, what we want to do is change the color, of course, to black. And we want to do it subtle, okay? We want to do a subtle border. And the way we do that is the density number 1 right here is 4.8. If you set this to like 3.25, it'll take the stitches out and oftentimes soften up the border there. And also what we want to do, well, actually, I'm going to actually go to 5.50, okay? And we're going to take the width of this down to about maybe 12, okay? It's going to get real thin, just like that. And let's see, we have this, let's go into Z stitches here. Okay, and that's just basically a zigzag. Okay, now, I'm going to separate the border. It's going to take the border off the image, make it its own layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that border. To do that, we need to go to Object Manager. Just showing you different things that you can do to this. And there's my zigzag path. Now, what I can do with the zigzag path here is I'm going to go to, let me see, column width is 12, density, fill mode. Let's go ahead and go to Stitch Effects. And I'm going to go to a random stitch, okay? I'm going to go to side. This is actually going to distress the image a little bit for me, the border only. I can go side A where it will distress one side. It will distress the inside part, okay? Side B does the outside part, so the distress will come out this way. And and both will be both of them. So let me click on this and see what it's going to do. And the value I'm going to set this is going to be about 85. Let's take a look at what I did here. You see what it did? It just added a border, but it messed it up a little bit. Okay, that's what these stitch effects do. Let me go back to Stitch Effects, and if I go to 0, it's a zigzag stitch. You can see that clearly here. In order to really see this, what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the width of this. Let's go to 25. Let's make this a little bit fatter there, and then we'll go back down to Stitch Effects. And let's go ahead and have fun with side A, okay? And what we'll do, we're still set at a 0. Just to show you, because a lot of people don't even know this stuff exists here. Let's go to 25. You can see what it does. It tapers up, almost looks like a Wall Street readout, ticket readout. Let's see what side B looks like. You see what it does? Okay. It actually makes it look like she's got hair there. And then we do both. Okay? So, I mean, you can have fun with this, okay? And this would actually be a blend, so I'd probably make this like a dark gray. So it's soft tone. You don't really see it. It's there, but you don't really see it, okay? And let me see. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good, just like that. Okay? Have some fun with another image, okay? Any questions, by the way? I'm going to give you time to ask any questions. Myra, it's good to see you. Randy Bachman, good to see you too. You guys join the crowd. Gail, really good to see you too. Okay, no questions yet, so we're going to move on. We're going to do another image so we walk through it all again, okay? Have fun with this, guys, okay? It's a really great technique, okay? And it doesn't actually have too many stitches, and I mean, this has 36,400 because I'm like 10 by 10, I think, on this. But I can actually bring this down a little bit. Let's see what it looks like when I bring it down. So let me go ahead and turn off. I already turned off my image, but I want to delete the image. okay? So turn on, and then what I'll do is select the image. And let's go ahead and bring this down. So actually I'm on 7 inches. So if I go to like a 4, let's try 4.5 and let's see what the image looks like, okay? Let's see if we can do. See, now we're going to have some problems here, okay? We actually lost all our interior stitches there. Let's go to 5.50. It's a difficult stitch to do, this photo stitching. So that's why you really can't go too small with it. Let's undo. Also, too, I want to draw your attention to the bigger the better that this is. Okay, see, this is actually 7 inches, which it doesn't look bad at all. It's 7 inches. But if we go ahead and blow this up to like a 10-inch image, we get so much more detail. Oh, what happened? Let's go back. Let's go back. There we go. I think I need both objects. So let's go ahead and go highlight both. And we go to 10 inches. And there we go. So now we start to see a little bit more detail. Okay, let's see before and after, okay? Before, it's a little bit lighter on the nose line here. After, we start to get a little bit more details in different places here. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and have some more fun. Okay, we can close this out. And let's open up our other image that we chose. Okay, this one here. This one here has some decorations within the glasses that we need to encapsulate, and this could be just this could be palm trees. And matter of fact, I think it is palm trees. Okay. We have a question here. Thank you. Okay, you're welcome, Myra. All right. So let's go and bring this down. And the first thing I want to do is set the size of this. So again, do all 4 steps. Bring in your image. Step number 1. Step number 2, set your size. Let's go to about 10 inches wide on this. Okay. And so you got a question here. My limited experience, not photo, just typical logo stuff. When resizing, does work inches, decimals by more than 10 degrades the stitches? If you're resizing, I think what you're talking about is resizing DST files. Okay, DST files are format files that a machine is interpreting. Okay, and oftentimes when you resize a DST, it does not add stitches. It's a good question. And I'll tell you what, we're going to create this design, and I'm going to show you how to deal with DST files and resizing and still having stitch compensation, density compensations, and just affecting the type of editing you want to do on a DST. Okay, so Randy, I'll definitely get to that question. We'll just create this one real quick, and let's go and resize it. We already resized it, I think. Layout, we're at 10 inches, and what we want to do is we'll go to embroidery, art to stitch. We'll go to image photo stitch, and I'm going to go to straight line because I'm going to do the whole square here. All right, and let me just make sure I'm straight. Let's make sure I get this right here. This mouse is not really cooperating with me. All right, so we're going to go to embroidery. I got to click on it. Embroidery, art to stitch, image photo stitch. And I'll click here, click here, click here, click here, and then we'll go right back to where we started. Hit enter. And now right around here is where I actually open up my simulation screen, and I'll dock it on the left side over here so I can see the changes take place as I choose different things. So now what we want to do, I'm going to change my stitch direction right away. I'm going to bring it up to about minus 15 degrees. You can see that right there. I may even go to minus 20. There we go. Starting to see some detail over here. Now what we have to do is adjust the way the stitches fill. And that's this number here. We're going to take this number to 15. Okay, and we'll take this number to 20, let's try to take a 25. And I don't like that, it lost a lot. Let's go to 5. There we go. So now I'm starting to see the detail there. So let's go and let's play with this number here. Let's go to a 20 and see if we get a little bit more lighter tones. We want to get a little bit lighter in here. That looks a lot better. Can't make out the detail of the glasses, but let's go ahead and choose a different style. Let's go black and white too. Okay, looks a little better. Let's go ahead and take this down to 15 and see where we look. 15, I think, was the right setting for the other, and that looks. Let's see. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I like that one. You're starting to see the detail of the glasses. Okay, just like in our image. Okay, I'm going to turn the image off on the preview screen. There we go. And let's just try black and white 3 and see which one I'm going to choose. And see, that one there just gives me a lot of the darker shadows here. And this may be good if you're doing like a mosaic kind of look to it. Let's go ahead and try some color in here. See what the color does. Now, with all your colors, it always defaults the colors. So what we'd have to do is choose the colors that we want to incorporate. Let's see what this looks like. And you can see what it does. You're going to have fun, a lot of fun with this. Now, the colors are going to be in your object inspector on the right-hand side. And when I click on it, if I open it up, you can see blue. I can click on blue and change it to something else. So let me go ahead and choose like a darker, more, let's see, maybe like 27. All right. You can start to see the blue, and the blue is actually a dark tone, so it's trying to act as the black. So let's go ahead and choose. Let's choose yellow, and let's make that the dark tone. So let's go to 9 on that. All right. So you start to see what you're doing here. So let's go ahead and go into jewel tones here. So we're going to actually choose like a pink. All right. And then now what I'll do is I'll switch these two pinks around, see which one gives me the better look. Okay. I'm going to go to number 2. On this one, and we'll go to the lighter pink on here. So let's go ahead and choose 21. And I think I like the other one. The shadows right here needs to be a light tone. So let's go ahead and choose this one here. Not yellow. Well, actually, yellow's not too bad. But this one here needs to be. Let me try like a silver. So you start to see now. You can actually start to bring some color into the image. And this is just a 3 color. Okay, you can actually go and have some fun with a 4 color, which interjects black shadows, like CMYK 1, 2, and 3 will do. Okay. Still processing. Still processing. Still processing. Let's see what that looks. Now we have all 4 colors here. So let's go ahead and do. There's a cyan color. Let's go ahead and change this to a. Let's change this to. We're going to keep it girly, right? So let's go ahead and go to 21. Let's go ahead and keep that dark, and we'll go from yellow. Let's go ahead and go to. Let me try just a green. Let me just see what part of the green is. Okay, so it's part of the shadowing, so it's definitely a dark tone. So, or a light, it's going to be a light tone. So I'm going to go to silver on that. It'll actually soften up this right here. And this one here is probably going to have to be, let's go to light blue. There we go. And then the magenta. We're going to change that to a flesh tone, okay? We're going to find a nice flesh tone. And let's see, if I go to 28, and what I'll do is to edit number 28 to a flesh tone, I'm going to find 28 here in my list. All right, there we go. And then if you double click on it, you could edit the color, okay? So, by the way, if you have your thread chart open, okay, you can actually choose the threads that you have. All right, so I use Madeira Classic 40. And what I could do is, here's all my code numbers here. So I can actually choose the thread color that I like the best, that I actually have, that I could recreate on my machine. So I'll choose like a nice light flesh tone. Like 1067 is kind of like a gold, but 1053 looks pretty interesting. Let's go ahead and choose that and see. And what I'll do is I'll associate the color. So double click to assign. So you just double click on it. And it assigns 28 as a thread color. Okay, so I'm going to hit apply, hit OK. And there we go. So now we have a flesh tone aspect into the design here. And they're both now 28, so I'm just going to change this one back to like a, let's go with a pink. So you can see what you can do. Now you're injecting color in there. You see what you're doing with the color, with the stitches? Let's go ahead and look at it in the working screen here, okay? You see what it's doing with the color? It's cross-stitch patterning your design here with the black. Okay, and there's several different styles of that. So you have this one here, which is CMYK3. Let's see what it looks like in CMYK1. And it should stick to the colors that you selected. Let's take a look at that. See, that looks pretty good, okay? It looks pretty classy, okay? You can see what it did with how it's going to look with a simulation here. But you can see what it did in here. It actually put linear information on the colors instead of a cross-stitch pattern, which kind of cleans up our image a little bit. At CMYK1, your best ones to actually use is BM1, BW2, CMY1, and CMY3 actually CMY3 are pretty good too. The CMYK3, you can click on that and see what that's going to look like. Takes a little bit to process. The bigger the image, always takes a little bit longer to process. And there we go. Actually, that probably looks the best. That almost looks like flawless. Okay. You can see I'm seeing a lot more detail in the glasses there, okay, when I'm adding the colors, okay? And again, you can actually border this and put a border around it or a frame or whatever, and you're finished, okay? So it's really fun to work with. There's a lot more about it that you can actually do with the graphic beforehand, before converting the stitches. For instance, I could actually if I don't like the way the image came in that I captured from the internet, I can darken those tones, okay? You have that information up here. You can incorporate color, saturation of color. It's not really doing much on the black or white here, but let's go ahead and start to fade that so you can bring it. Target your contrast. So you do this, you bring this in, you start to capture more detail in the glasses there. But you're also darkening your shadow effects here too. So only adjust these little bit, very little bit. All right. So you can edit. Bring a little bit of transparency into it. And try to just bring the face out. So there's a lot of things you can do. You just almost make it subtle, okay? All right. Any questions about photo stitching? It's pretty fun. It's a real small niche to get involved with. But if you have a storefront and you're showing this kind of stuff, people will actually see that and like it, and actually ask questions about it. Okay. The question I got asked earlier was actually, how do I edit my stitches that are already and not have them distort out? The easiest way of doing this, okay, is actually doing it to a DST file, okay? So, for instance, we'll just do text, okay? So I'll type in ColDesi here. We have our text here. Okay, we'll do 5.50. Okay, we'll choose a different color, purple. Okay, we'll hit OK. And the text will actually be, this is 2.0, okay? One of the most important things about, let's get rid of the picture, okay, is actually making sure that when we size this up or down, that we do not distort the stitches, okay? You can see this image, when we select it, it's actually 2 inches tall, and the stitch count is 4,003. On a this is a design file. This is a DSG file. When I resize this, okay, two things are going to happen. Number one is because the column width of my letters have shrunk, so is my pole compensation and all those other features. Also, too, the density is going to change. It's going to change with the resizing. Okay, you can see my font, my word looks the same no matter how big or small it is. Okay, it doesn't change shape. It doesn't distort. Okay. Now, when we have a DST file, let's go ahead and save this as a DST file. Okay, so I'm going to go File. I'm going to export. And by exporting, we are saving as a DST file. All right, so I'm going to just save it to my desktop. We'll call it Design 2. Say yes. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to go to I'm going to go to my machine format files. So you have system format files, which are your DSG files. Machine format are only files that are DST. And let's see, there's my Design 2. Okay. Now, we have this stitch way out here, and if you get this, it's only because you forgot to set your start point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my start point. And I'll go to embroidery. Start should always be at first section. My end point is going to be at last section. And now we'll save that. And the desktop, we'll call it Design 2. Oh, it's a DSG file. Hold on. File. Export. And we'll rewrite the DST. All right, let's go and bring that in. Yeah, what you want to do is you always want to there it is. You always want to set your start point. So the last step you do in any embroidery file you do is set your start, the first section, end at last section, and it'll get rid of that long line where it doesn't have any information for your start point. So let me just go ahead and export this. Design 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and reopen that now. Open up a new page, go to Designs, and wow, it's still there. There it is. All right, the line's gone now. All right, so now how do I resize this, okay, without distorting the letter? You just can't grab a hold of the corner here. You see my stitch count is 941 stitches in this design, and resize it and get any kind of real compensation. The stitches just get wider apart, and my stitch count has not gone up at all too much, okay? The only thing that's gone up is my initial stitch count went up 4 points, and that's to get from the middle part of the letter, middle part of the design to the start of the design, which is the C. So when we enlarge this image, when we need to resize this image, it's important we have what's called stitch density compensation. The only way it works is actually right-clicking on the graphic, and you go to, let's see, click on again. Come on. Oh, the way it works is actually you go to Edit Stitches, and then you select all stitches, okay, up here. Now the image will turn black and you'll have your selection box around it. When that is the case, you can right-click on it, and then you can go to Block Resize. In the Block Resize, you can actually resize this image up to 100%, means doubling the size, but you'll have density compensation of the stitches, means the stitch count will go up so as you resize. So if I want to bring this is the old size, it's 2 inches in diameter. If I want to bring this up, now the new size, 100. Let's go all the way up. Now we're going to be at 4.1. It's doubling the size, okay, by almost an inch. We click on OK, Now look at the stitch count, 1,776. Okay. Some of these, the information should be there. It does give you a preview. My graphics card is not very good in this computer, but this information is there. If I go to View and Simulation, you can see the information is there. It's just my graphics card can't process it. Okay. Let's change some different aspects about it. Okay, we're back down to 944 stitches. Maybe my density needs to be increased. Okay, the density you could do that as well by first selecting Edit Stitches, select All Stitches, right-click, and then you go to Advanced Fill Processing. Now, Advanced Fill Processing allows you to adjust the zigzag part of the design, which is your column, which is all zigzag. If you have a fill pattern involved, you can adjust just those. Or if it was a running stitch, you could tell it how many times to do the running stitch. Okay. So what I do in this, I choose the stitch type I want to affect in my design, just the zigzags. And let's say I want to make it a little bit fatter. Okay, I want to bring out the pull compensation a little bit. Well, that would be outline width. Right now at 100%, it's as I digitize. If I increase this by 10%, okay, it's 110%. Watch what happens to my letters. It'll actually get a little fatter for me. You see that? This is before, and this is after. This is adding pull compensation to an already created DST file. We can right-click on that. We go to not block resize, but we want to go to Advanced Fill Processing. And you can also change the density of your zigzag. You could choose the general and change all this stuff, the outline width and the density, to all this zigzag patterns and running stitches that you have in there. Okay? But I like to choose which stitches I'm controlling. So for density, if I need more stitches, say I see some shirt material behind the stitches, I can go ahead and change the density and cover them up just by choosing it and setting to a new percentage. I'll go to 120. I'll go 20% more. So my stitch count right now is 944 stitches. And now I'm at 1,108 stitches. Okay, so I just increased the density a little bit more. You could also go the other way and decrease. Okay? Let's go ahead and grab a DST file. A more complex DST file. Do we have any? Let's do the Tampa Bay skate. And that's a, wow. This here is actually a sequin file, so that ain't going to work. Let's see. I should have something on here that's a stitch file. EOXs or backup files are not there. Let me see. All right, so we got some stuff here. So let's go ahead and go to plain. Let's see what that is. Oh, these are not stitch files. These are folders. All right, so we'll just stick with this one here. Okay. A couple other things you can do with a DST file, and again, don't worry about what you're seeing there on the yes. It's actually there. It's just my graphics card's not too good. Is actually doing effects. Okay. By the way, I hope that answers your question. Okay, on how to actually adjust different properties on a DST file so it doesn't actually distort on you. Okay. Let's go ahead and close this one out. Let's go ahead and bring in. No. Let's go and choose. Let's go and let's see. I'm going to go to Designs, and that's the Tampa Bay skate. Let's go to System Formatted Design. This is my Saints design. Let me see. I don't think I have any real DST. Let's choose this one here. Okay, let me show you what you can do with this. Okay. One of the other things you have as a DST is actually choosing an effects. Okay. Now the effects only comes up when you have chosen stitches. Okay. So you got to choose all stitches, and the effects is right here. Okay. Some of the things that the effects can do are pretty good. Okay. Like for instance, let's say I want to bring out. Maybe I want to make this a little hairy, like a dog. You can select the noise, and then you just draw a box which you want to distort. You see all those stitches right there, how they're distorting on me? And then this is how much to distort them. And some of the stuff is pretty cool. Like when I was digitizing dogs, it was very hard because you got to get movement in the hair. Well, this would have been a nice tool to have. I just draw the shape out and then I could distort it. All right. Another nice cool effects you got on here, and you should play with these, okay? Again, they only work when you select Edit Stitches on the left sidebar, and you choose All Stitches. And let's choose this sphere, okay? The sphere is pretty cool because I'm just going to draw a circle where I want it to be bulbulous, okay? Position it. You see how it's coming out? And what I could do is increase how this actually comes out, okay? Hit Enter. And now you can see it looks like it's coming out at you. Okay, these are pretty cool tools to work with. There's a ton of them. Let me see. Let's try another one. Let's undo. There's so much stuff that in this software that you can do that most people don't even know that they realize that like 10 years in. Oh, I didn't know it does that. Grid is another nice cool one. Okay, what I could do with grid is actually distort this. You see what I can do here? I could stretch this out, even though it's a DST file. See, usually this is all done when you're creating the stitches, and you can arch it and do whatever. But all these points actually do things. So I could actually make it go into the screen a little bit. We'll just do there you go. So you can have fun with that. Again, Edit Stitches, select all stitches, effects, and let's go to well, we did sphere. We have explode. This explodes. It lens. Wind. Let's make this a little bit windy, okay? So I'm going to choose where I want the wind, and usually you'd want to do this on one side. Of course, you can increase or decrease the spreading out of the wind here. And I probably wouldn't use this on text. I mean, you can do something like that, and your embroidery machine will actually sew this. Well, does anybody have any final questions? If you don't, we had fun a lot. We actually, I think you guys got a good handle on the photo stitching and answer a couple questions on editing your DST files. Let's see, I got a question here. Can you guys think about maybe a multi-part webinar for doing applique using the advanced either pre-cut or vinyl cutter for cutting cloth? This is big in quilt making. Absolutely. We always want to have that feedback on what you guys want to learn. That's what we hear. The more successful you are, if we could teach you it, we're definitely going to do it. So I'll talk to our marketing guy, Mark, and he'll put it together for you. Okay. Just keep in mind to always check your emails on upcoming Tech Talks. They do come out every month. We give you a whole schedule of what we're covering on the topics. And you'll get a reminder, too, just before the Tech Talk will occur, just to remind you. And tell your friends. If you have friends that are in the business and they want to learn what the software can do, that's what we're here for. Okay? Good to meet you guys. Hope you have a great weekend.